hero who received the Medal of Honor says to him it's a badge of shame.
WDRB's Lindsay Allen spoke with Dakota Meyer about the battles he continues to fight at home and what pushed him to try to take his own life in a story you'll see only on WDRB.
I died September 8, 2009 whenever I found my guys dead. But that doesn't mean I stop there. That doesn't mean I come back and drink my life away.
He calls it the day he died. But Dakota Meyer says he'll spend every day for the rest of his life living for his 4 friends whose names are etched on the bracelets he never takes off.
Every day that I don't have enough respect for myself to push on, I can look down and I've got 4 reasons because these guys never got a chance to push on.
Pushing on, though, hasn't been easy. President Obama awarded him the Medal of Honor for what he did on what he calls the worst day of his life. Near the village of Ganjgal, Afghanistan, Meyer disobeyed orders. He and 4 others drove into enemy fire time and time again to rescue his comrades under attack. Over the course of 5 hours, the Marine sniper kept on going back, carried wounded Afghan soldiers to safety, and provided cover so that 36 others could escape. But he could not save 4 of his men. To this day, Meyer says he feels like a failure because he couldn't get to those friends in time.
Every time I put that medal on, it's like it's like, hey, this is what I have to do to suffer, to know that I'm a failure in the eye of the nation. I got into it with an interviewer one time, and he kept coming at me. You're not wanted to debate it, and I said, well, if I'm not a failure, then why don't you tell my teammates I'm not? You can't.
Meyer wrote a book about the events of that day. It's titled Into the Fire. In it, he also reveals he tried to kill himself shortly after coming home from Afghanistan to Greensburg, Kentucky.
I decided I was going to take my life, that I felt like that, well, I'm at that point I was, 21, 22 years old. I felt like if this is what I have to deal with at this young of an age, and this is the way I feel right now, I'm not living 60 more years with that. So let's just get it over with now.
Meyer pulled out a gun in the parking lot of his buddy's shop where he knew he'd be found the next morning. He pulled the trigger, but there was no bullet.
And I told myself from that point, I said, well, if you really feel like this is what you need to do, there's bullets. All you got to do is put a round in the chamber and do it. So either do that and get it over with if it's that bad, or if you put the car in drive, don't ever do it again.
Although Meyer talks about his difficulty adjusting to normal life, he says he hates the term PTSD.
To be honest with you, I don't believe in PTSD. And we got to find a different name for it.
He says he just had a normal human reaction after witnessing the ugliness of war.
If you stick your hand in a fire, you get burnt, okay? You go over to war, if you don't come back with something, if it doesn't, if there's things that don't bother you, then you're probably not human.
Meyer now spends his days speaking about veterans' causes. He's an advocate for the program Hiring Our Heroes and owns his own construction business. Meyer spends just a few days a month in the small town he grew up in, and he says that's a good thing. He says in some ways being a public figure is a curse.
You have people who, well, he's 24, he's got the Medal of Honor, let's test him.
Meyer was assaulted at Lindsey Wilson College in December. An 18-year-old was arrested.
It's not just hard on me, it's hard on my whole family. It is, it's hard on my family. It's hard for reporters to call my family and say, did you know your grandson's an alcoholic?
But the Marine also understands he can use his public status for good. He's led the charge to help get the interpreter who aided his unit in Afghanistan out of that country.
And the last thing I told him when I left was, I will get you home. I will get you to America.
After years of red tape, Meyer has received word his interpreter has gotten a visa and should be in the United States in 30 to 60 days. Meyer is now working on a second book about leadership. He's trying to move his life forward. What he doesn't want to do is keep reliving his past.
I'll never read the book again just because it brought it back to, it really tore me up, you know.
Making a conscious effort to wake up with a positive attitude, he posts a morning motivation daily on his Facebook page. It's his way of finding peace with his past, a past that will forever haunt him.
I told them I didn't want it. I told them I didn't deserve it. How many times have I said that? In my eyes, I didn't save enough and I didn't kill enough.